Hello friends, in this lecture we will learn about Bhakti movement. We will start with Sufi movement. With the arrival of Islam and establishment of Delhi Sultanate, lot of cultural change took place in Indian society and one of them was Sufi movement which increased the religious conversion rate in India. People start getting converted from Hindu culture to Islamic culture, and it was because of Sufism. And Sufism means is more emphasis on devotion and love, and it is related to knowing God through devotion. And the mystics who exponent this philosophy were known as Sufi saint. The language used by Sufi saints was local or regional language. The Sufi movement started in Persia and later reached in India. Mutajila or rationals. They were trying to know the God through knowledge. And the rationals or mutajilas were opposed by both orthodoxy people and Sufi saints of Islam. Around the 12th century, Sufis were organized in 12 order or silsilas. It is division in Sufi. So there was 12 order or silsila. And each silsila was led by a prominent mystic or saint. And Khanka was the resting place of a Sufi saint along with his disciples. So the prominent Sufi saint used to live at Khanka with his disciples. Uh, disciples. The Khanka system gave rise to the Pir Murid system. Pir Murid is a teacher disciple system. Pir was teacher and Murid was disciples. Pir used to nominate a successor among his disciples, and this successor was known as Wali. And the job of the Wali is to carry on the work of his Pir. And as per Sufi movement, guidance of Pir was important as spiritual development was not possible without a Pir. The Sufi order are broadly divided into two categories. One is Basara and another one is Besara. Basara, Basara sect is those who were follower of Sharia law, and Besara sect is those who were not bound by Sharia law. So the 12 order or silsila can be divided into two broad category. One is Basara and another one is Besara. Sufi followed the concept of love and devotion. Sufi adopted the fasting, breathing, and other meditative technique of Hinduism and Buddhism. Sufi did not believe in the class system. As per them, service to humanity is service to God. They believe in an inner purity, brotherhood, and one God. The first Sufi sent to India was Sheikh Ismail of Lahore. The two important silsila during the medieval India was Chishti and Sohrawardi silsila. Chishti was the first silsila of India, and both these silsila were Basara in nature. Other silsila in India were Firdausi, Satari, Qadri, and Naqshband. The order of this silsila, introduction of this silsila in India is uh, Chishti came first, then Sohrawardi, then Firdausi, then Sataria in Bihar, and then Qadri, and then Naqshband. Chishti silsila. It came India in 12th century AD. The silsila was started by Abu Ishaq Sami in Chishti region at Herat, Afghanistan, around 930 AD. Khwaja Muhyiddin Chishti introduced this order in Ajmer, Rajasthan, India in 1192, and he introduced Chishti silsila in India after the death of Prithviraj Chauhan. The second battle of Tarain took place in 1192. So after the death of Prithviraj Chauhan, Khwaja Muhyiddin Chishti introduced Chishti silsila in India, and it was the first silsila of India. Khwaja Muhyiddin Chishti built his Khanka at Ajmer. Other important saint of Chishti silsila were Kutubuddin Bakhtiyar Khaki, Nijamuddin Auliya, Baba Farid, Chirag Dehlavi, and Salim Chishti. Bakhtiyar Khaki came India during the reign of Iltutmish, and Salim Chishti was contemporary of Akbar. The core territory of this Chishti silsila was Ajmer and Delhi. The Chishti silsila flourished in Ajmer and Delhi in first phase from 1192 to 1398. After that, there was Timrud attack in Delhi region. So the Sufi sect escaped the Delhi and get settled in Bahmani kingdom in Gulbarg region. So the second phase of the flourishment of Chishti Silsila was 1347 to 1538 at Gulbarg. The third phase of development of Chishti Silsila was 15th century to 16th century, and it developed in Delhi, Gulbarg, and other regions of India during the third phase of development of Chishti Silsila. The Chishti saints were not involved in political administration with sultans. Some verses of Baba Farid. Baba Farid was disciple of Bakhtiyar Khaki, and some of his verses are quoted in Adi Granth of Sikh. Nijamuddin Aulia was the most famous saint of Chishti Silsila. He refused Khilji's request to meet them, and he had bad terms with Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. And regarding Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, he told Hanuj Dilli Durast. Amir Khusro and Chirag Dahlavi were disciples of Nijamuddin Aulia. Next one is Sohrawardi Silsila. This silsila also came India in 12th century AD. It was founded by Abu al Najib Sohrawardi in Iran. Sahabuddin Sohrawardi founded this silsila in Baghdad, and later it was formed in India by Sheikh Bauddin Zakaria. Around 1188, Sheikh Bahuddin Zakaria, who lived from 1182 to 1262. And Sheikh Bahuddin Zakaria was awarded the title of Sheikhul Islam by Iltutmish, and he established his Khanka at Multan. The core territory of Sohrawardi Silsila was Punjab, Multan, and Bengal region. Unlike Chishti, Sohrawardi accepted royal favor or royal post and accumulated a significant amount of wealth. So they did not live a life of as they did not live ascetic life, but they accumulated a large amount of wealth. The next silsila was Firdausi silsila. It came to India in 14th century AD. It was branch of the Sohrawardi order. It was the only Sufi order which was founded and developed within India. It was introduced in India by Sheikh Badruddin Samarkandi in 1315 AD, but it reached its zenith under Sheikh Sarafuddin Yaha al Maneri, who made his center of activity at Bihar. He composed he composed Maktubat and Mulfajat literature. Maktubat was related to lives of Sufi saints, and Mulfajat was regarding teaching of Sufi saints. Next one is Qadri Silsila. Um, the Qadri Silsila developed in India around 14th century AD. It was the most secular Sufi Silsila founded by Abdul Qadir Gilani in Iraq region. Qadri believe in Wahadat al Wajud, means unity of existence. They try to convince that there is one God and his creation are the same. And because of this, they were not liked by many orthodox people. Shah Nimatullah popularized this silsila in India in Punjab and Sindh region. Dara Sikho, son of Shah Jahan, followed this order under his spiritual leader Mian Mir. Next is Naqshbandi silsila. It developed around 16th century AD. It is an offshoot of Qadri silsila founded by uh, this Naqshbandi silsila was founded by Bahuddin Naqshband Bukhari. Baki Billah Berang is credited for bringing the order to India during the end of 16th century. Ahmad Sirhindi, a person contemporary of Akbar, was a follower of Baki Billah Berang. Uh, and Shah Waliullah Dahlavi of the 18th century was another scholar of this silsila. There was a historian named Ahmad Sirhindi who wrote Takte Nasri. He was different person, and here the follower of Naqshbandi Silsila, Ahmad Sirhindi, contemporary of Akbar, was different person. Naqshbandi Silsila was the most conservative of the uh, of the orders. And Aurangzeb was the follower of this silsila, Naqshbandi silsila. Here is the map that shows the core territory of different silsila in India. So the Chishti silsila developed around Ajmer and Delhi region. That second one is Sohrawardi silsila. It developed around Punjab and Multan region. Then third one is Firdausi silsila developed around Bihar region. Then Satariya silsila developed in Bihar plus Bengal region. Then fifth one is Qadri silsila developed in Punjab and Sindh region. And sixth one is Naqshband silsila developed around Delhi region. Now we will start Bhakti movement. While Sufi movement was a new element to Indian society trying to create change, Bhakti movement, which started in South India after the decline of Kalavars, continued impacting Indian society during the reign of Delhi Sultanate. Bhakti means devotion to God for attaining salvation. So Bhakti path is divided into two groups. One is Sagun Bhakti and another one is Nirgun Bhakti. And this division was given by medieval Indian historians. In Nirgun Bhakti, the popular saints were Kabir, Nanak, and Raidas. And Nirgun Bhakti get popular in India after the arrival of Islam. In Sagun Bhakti, basically there was Vaishnavism flourished at that time. So in Sagun Bhakti, the two important sect was Ram Bhakti and Krishna Bhakti. The important saints of Ram Bhakti was Ramanand and Tulsidas, and under Krishna Bhakti, important saints were Surdas, Chaitanya, and Mirabai. After the decline of Calabars, two branches of Sant emerged in Tamil Nadu region in 6th century AD. One is Nanar. Nanar were follower of Shiva, and another one is Alvar. Alvar were follower of Vishnu. Alvar Sant. 12 Tamil poet or saint from 6th century to 10th century AD. And the collection of hymns of these 12 saints is known as Divya Prabandham. And Nalyar Diprabandham was written by Nath Muni in 10th century AD, and it contains poem of Namalwar saint only. Andal is the only female Alwar saint, and rest of the Alwar saint name end with term Alwar. So you can easily identify Alwar saint by their name. If you find at the end of their name the term Alwar, then you can say it was Alwar saint, except Andal, who was only female Alwar saint. The next is Nanar saint. Nanar were follower of Shiva, and there were 63 Tamil poet or saint which lived around 6th century AD to 8th century AD. Tirumurai is the collection of hymns of Nanar Sant, and it has 12 volumes. And Tirumurai was written by Nambiyandar. Nambiyandar was priest of Rajaraja Chol in, and he wrote Tirumurai in 10th century AD. Next important text of Nanar Sant was Tevar, Tevaram. Tevaram is the part of Tirumurai. It is first seven volume of Tirumurai, and it contains hymns of three Nanars and Sambandar, Sundrar, and Appar. Appar was a contemporary of Mahendravarman I, and because of Appar, Mahendravarman I converted to Saivism. Initially, he was Jain follower, but under the guidance of Appar, Mahendravarman I converted to Saivism. Uh, 63 nanar saints were lived first time 63 nanar saints were listed first time by Sundrar, and Sundrar listed himself along with his father and mother as 63 nanar saint. Three female saints of nanar sect were Karikal Ammayyar of 6th century AD, then Mangayarkar Siyar, and then Isangan Isanganiyar, and Isanganiyar was mother of Sundrar. Now, Bhakti movement related to Saivism, although there was very little development of this Shiv follower, but we will learn few fact about Bhakti movement, Saivism. So three important sect of Saivism were Kashmir Saivism, then in Kashmir region, then Nath in UP, and then Lingayat or Veer Saiv in Karnataka region. So regarding Kashmir Saivism, the notable saint of this sect was Lal Dev of Kashmir, and she was a woman, and her writings were known as works. Then Nath in UP region, it was sub-tradition of Saivism, and it emerged from a much older Siddha tradition based on yoga. The Nath tradition was founded by Guru Gorakhnath. Then third one is Lingayatism or Veershaiv of Karnataka. It was founded by Bhasvanna. Bhasvanna was 12th century philosopher and statesman, and it was spread by his followers, also known as Sarnas. Bhasvanna preached monism and bhakti to Shiva. They rejected the dominance of Brahma but did not outright rejected the Vedas. Another important saint of Lingayat sect was Akka Mahadevi, and the term Akka means elder sister, and it was an honorific title given to her by other Lingayat saints. Regarding Bhasvesara or Bhasvanna, he was contemporary of King Bijala II of Kalchuriya dynasty. He lived around 12th century AD, and in 12th century AD he was a statesman and philosopher who founded the Lingayat sect. He was active in Karnataka region under the Chalukya of Kalyani and Kalchuriya dynasty, and his writings are compiled as Vachans, a sacred text of Lingayat sect. Bhasvanna fought against the inhuman practice of the caste system, and he established Anubhav Mandapa for the social democracy. So sometime Anubhav Mandapa is referred as first parliament of world. Now Bhakti movement regarding Vedant philosophy. So Adi Sankarachar, he was sent around. He was sent of 8th century AD who lived in Kerala region, and he was follower of Saivism. In the Kerala region, Adi Sankarachar gave the philosophy of Ad- Advaita or non-dualism. But his philosophy became popular in the 14th century AD when the Vijayanagar kingdom gave patronage to Sringeri Mutt established by Sankaracharya, and it was part of Dasnami Sampradaya. He met Adi Sankaracharya met his guru Govind Bhagwatpad at Omkaleshwar in Madhya Pradesh. Later, he founded four ashrams in four corners of India. One at Badrinath in north region, then another one is Shringeri, Karnataka in south region, then Puri in east, and Dwarka in the west region. Adi Sankaracharya was against the Buddhist philosophy, yet he was considered as hidden Buddha or Pracham Buddha by Ramanuja. Mandana Mishra was contemporary of Sankaracharya, and Mandana Mishra was follower of Mimamsa and Advaita both. Adi Sankaracharya took Samadhi at Kedarnath, and a 12-foot statue of Adi Sankaracharya was built at Kedarnath. Later, other Vishnu or Krishna follower contributed to Vedant philosophy. Um, the other who contributed to Vedant philosophies were Ramanuj or Ilayya Perumal. He was 11th century saint of Tamil Nadu region, and he was follower of Sri Vaishnavism. Sri Vaishnavism was established by Nath Muni. In Sri Vaishnavism, the Supreme Lord was Vishnu, and in Vaishnavism, the Supreme Lord was Vishnu or any other avatar of Vishnu. So Ramanuja was follower of Sri Vaishnavism. He gave the philosophy of Visist Advaita, that the man and Brahma are the human and Brahma are not same, but they can be same after realization. The Statue of Equality is built in honor of Ramanuja at Hyderabad, because Ramanuja propagated Vasudev Kutumbakam of Maha Upanishad. and it means all the universe is one family. Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam means all the universe is one family. Next important saint who contributed to Vedanta philosophy was Nimbakacharya. He was 12th century saint, lived in Karnataka region, and he was follower of Vaishnavism. He gave the philosophy of Devit Advaita, that Atma and Brahma are two different thing and also same thing. So his philosophy is confusing one, that uh, Atma and Brahma are same and different also based on some condition. And Nimbakacharya established Sanak Sampradaya. Another important saint was Madhvacharya. He was 13th century saint, lived in Karnataka region, and he was follower of Vaishnavism. He gave the philosophy of Devita, and he established Krishna Math at Udupi and Karnataka region. Devita means Atma and Brahma are two different entity. They cannot be same. Next philosopher of Vedanta philosophy was Vallabhacharya or Achinta Bhadra. He was 15th century saint and lived in Chhattisgarh region, and he was follower of Vaishnavism. He gave the philosophy of Suddha Advaita, and he established Pushti Marga, and he was the first to promote Krishna Bhakti on the basis of Mahabhagavad Puran. In Suddha Advaita, the concept is both Atma and Brahma are same, and both are equal. In Advaita, there was concept that Atma and Brahma are same, but there is no concept that both are equal. But in Suddha Advaita, Atma and Brahma are same and both are equal. Bhakti movement in Maharashtra region. The Bhakti movement in Maharashtra led to the development of Marathi literature, and it elevated the status of women, helped in breaking caste distinction, etc. The Bhakti movement in Maharashtra region is divided into two sects. One is Varkaris and another one is Dharkaris. Varkaris developed around the shrine of Vithoba or Vitthal, and Vithoba or Vitthal is manifestation of Lord Vishnu or Krishna, and it was the presiding deity of Pan, Pradhanpura. This movement is also known as Pandharpur movement, Dharkari sect, the heroic follower of the cult of Ramdas, the devotee of God Rama, who were more rational, concrete, and practical in their thoughts. However, the realization of God as the highest end of human life is a common aim of both the sect, Varkaris and Dharkaris. The great saints belonging to Vithoba cult were Gyandev, Namdev, Eknath, and Tukaram. And Ramdev and Ramdas was prominent saint of Dharkaris cult. Bhakti movement in Maharashtra region. So Gyandev or Gyaneshwara uh, who lived from 1275 AD to 1296. He wrote a commentary on of Bhagavad Gita in Marathi called Gyaneshwari, and it served as a foundation of the Bhakti movement in Maharashtra region. The next saint was Namdev. He lived from 1270 to 1350 AD. He is considered one of the five revered gurus in Dadupanthi tradition within Hinduism. The other four gurus in Dadupanthi traditions are Dadu, Kabir, Hardas, and Ravidas. Next saint was Eknath. Eknath, he translated many Sanskrit texts into Marathi language. As he had a family, he did not join any monastery and maintained a balance between family life with religious devotion. He introduced Barud. Barud is religious song in Marathi language. Then Tukaram. Tukaram was contemporary of Chhatrapati Shivaji. He is known for his Abhang or Dohas in Marathi, which are a rich heritage of the Gatha, devotional poetry, and Tukaram was also responsible for creating a background of Maratha nationalism. Ramdas. He was devotee of Lord Rama and Hanuman, and he was spiritual leader of Chhatrapati Shivaji. and he wrote Dasbodha. Dasbodha is treatise on Advait Vedanta in Marathi language. Ramdas initiated the Samart sect to revive spirituality in the society. Bhakti movement in North India. Ramanand spread it in North India and Kabir popularized it in North India. Ramanand, he was sent of 14th to 15th century AD. Sant Ramanand was born into a Brahmin family and he spent his majority of his life in the city of Varanasi. He was influenced by both Ramanuj 11th century saint and Nathpanthi of Yoga school. He was prominent Rama worshipper and the founder of the Bhakti movement in North India. He acted as a bridge between South Bhakti movement and North Bhakti movement. He used Hindi to spread his teaching and he accepted disciples from all sections of society. Some of his works were mentioned in Sikh scriptures, Adi Granth. He wrote Gyan Illa and Yog Chintamani in Hindi language. He wrote Gyan Leela and Yog Chintamani in Hindi language. His disciples were Kabir. Kabir was Muslim weaver. Then Ravidas. Ravidas was cobbler. Sena was barber. Then Dhanna. Dhanna was peasant. Then Sadhanna was butcher. Then Narhari. Narhari was goldsmith. And then Pipa. Pipa was Rajput prince. So he accepted the disciple from all uh, all section of society. He has Muslim disciple, then SC, ST, and Rajput disciple also. Ravidas was born at Varanasi, and Ravidas' devotional verses were included in the Sikh scripture Guru Granth Sahib. He is also the central figure within the Ravidasiya religious movement. And Ravidasiya were granted SC category by Government of India. So they were Ravidasiya is SC community of Sikh, and it was Ravidas who gave the slogan "Man changa to katauti mein Ganga." Then Kabir was sent of 15th century AD, and along with his Guru Ramanand and disciple Nanak, his verses are found in the Sikh scripture Adi Granth. He was born near Banaras to a Brahman widow who abandoned him after his birth. Later, he was brought up by a Muslim weaver family. He learned both Hindu and Islamic culture. He strongly denounced ideal worship and he was follower of Nirgun Bhakti. Uh, Nirgun Bhakti pilgrims, he denounced pilgrims' ritual caste system, especially the practice of untouchability. He regarded devotion to God as an effective means of salvation. He did not consider it necessary to abandon the life of a householder for the sake of saintly life. He emphasized the essential oneness of all religions by describing Hindu and Muslim as pots of the same clay. He tried to create harmony between Hindu and Muslim. The compilation of Kabir is known as Bijak. He wrote in variety of dialects of Hindi, including Braj, Bhojpuri, and Awadh. The disciples of Kabirs were uh, Raidas or Ravidas, who was tenor, then Guru Nanak, a Khatri merchant, then Dadu Dayal. Dadu Dayal born in Gujarat and he spread Dadu Panthi in Rajasthan region. And regarding Ravidas, some people considered him as a disciple of Ramanand and some historian considered him as disciple of Kabir. And he was the founder of Ravidasiya sect in Sikhism. Bhakti movement in North India related to Vaishnavism. The Bhakti movement in North India developed around the worship of Rama and Krishna, the two incarnation of God Vishnu. The important saints who contributed to Vaishnavism were Vidyapati. Vidyapati was 14th century saint in Bihar region. He was a devotee of Shiva, but He also wrote love song and devotional Vaishnava songs. Then another one, another saint who contributed to Vaishnavism was Narsingh Mehta, and Narsingh Mehta is considered as Adi Kavi of Gujarati language. He was the saint of Gujarat who wrote song in Gujarati, depicting the love of Radha and Krishna. He authored uh, a favorite bhajan he authored a bhajan Vaishnav Jan Ko, which was a favorite bhajan of Mahatma Gandhi. The next saint who contributed to Vaishnavism was Surdas of 15th century AD. He was a disciple of Pallabachar and he popularized the Krishna cult in North India. He wrote Sur Sagar in Braj Bhasa, which is full of verses on the charm of Lord Krishna and his beloved Radha. The next saint was Mirabai. Mirabai was daughter-in-law of Rana Sanga and she lived around 15th to 16th century AD. She was a great devotee of Krishna and she became popular in Rajasthan for her bhajans. The next saint was Tulsidas. He lived from around 16th century AD. He was a worshipper of Rama and composed an epic poem, the Ramcharitmanas, in Avdhi language. He was contemporary of Akbar and he compiled Hanuman Chalisa when he was in the prison of Akbar. Bhakti movement in North India by Chetan. Chetan lived around 15th century AD. He was born at Navadip in Bengal. He was given the name Viswambara. Then Nimai Pandit born because he born under the Neem tree. And he finally got the name Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was the disciple of Kesav Bharati and an ardent follower of Krishna who popularized the Hare Rama, Hare Krishna chant. He was the first to introduce Kirtan in the Bengali movement. He popularized the practice of worshipping Radha and Krishna simultaneously. He was a Sakun worshipper who popularized kirtans or religious song as mean of worship. He was well known in eastern India and he spent the majority of his life in Puri, Odisha. He is credited for Siksa Siksha Sattam. Siksha Sattam is 8 verses penned down by his disciple in Sanskrit language, and it was a treaty in which he elucidated on his ideas. Chetan is considered by Gaudiya Vaishnavism, Gaudiya Gaudiya Vaishnavas, follower as Lord Krishna and Radha in disguise or Channa avatar. So, Gaudiya Vaishnava follower considered Chaitan as avatar of Lord Krishna and Radha in disguise or Channa avatar, who emerged in Kali Yuga as his own disciple to demonstrate the simplest path to Krishna consciousness. He traveled all over India, including Vrindavan, where he revived the Krishna cult. He popularized the Sankirtan or Kirtan system. Um, he popularized group devotional song accompanied with ascetic dancing. He believed that through love and devotion, song and dance, a devotee can feel the presence of God. The biography of Chetan was written by Krishnadas Kaviraj. He accepted disciples from all classes and castes, and his teachings are widely followed in Bengal region even today. He did not write down his teaching or philosophy, but he asked his followers to explain his teaching in a methodical manner. He preached the Bhagavatam and spread the Bhagavad teachings, Gitas, in most practical way possible. The core of his teaching is Chetan Manjusa. Chetan Manjusa is related to Vraj Bhumi and Lord Krishna. Achint Bheda Abheda philosophy and Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was founder of Achint Bheda Abheda school of thought and Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Achint Bheda Abheda is a Vedic school that represents the doctrine of incomprehensible oneness and diversity. In Sanskrit, Achint means inconvincible. Bheda means different, and abheda means non-difference or same. So it was inconvincible, different, and same. The phrase Achint Bhed Abhed is used in the Gaudiya Vaishnavism religious tradition to refer to the relationship of creation and creator. Basically, the relationship between Atma and Brahma, between God and his forces. It may be regarded as a synthesis of Madhvacharya's Stringer's dualist philosophy and Ramanuja's monism or Vishisht Advait philosophy. In the 20 in 20, in, in 20th century AD, ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, was founded by Prabhupada in US. Prabhupada established ISKCON temple under Hare Krishna movement of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, and some people considered Prabhupada as incarnation of Chaitanya. Then Bhakti movement in North India, especially in Assam region, it was Sankaradev who spread Bhakti movement in Assam region. He lived in 15th century to 16th century AD. He wrote in Sanskrit, Assamese, and Brajavali. He translated many Sanskrit work in the Assamese language. He wrote Gunamala in Assamese, and it was very concise version of Bhagavad Puran and Kirtan Ghosa in Brajwali language. He is credited for development of Bhorgit is music, then Ankiyanat and Bhavna. Ankiyanat and Bhavna is theatrical performance and Satariya dance. So because of Sankaradev in Assam region there was development of music, theatrical performance and dance. Ek Sarna Dharma. It is considered as Neo Vaishnavism movement, and it was worship to one God, and that one God is Krishna, and it is part of Bhagavatiya religious movement or Vaishnavism, and it was started by Sankaradev. Satras are monastic institution created as part of the 16th century Neo Vaishnavite. So Satras is a monastery related to Eksarna Dharma or Neo Vaishnavite. Sankaradev started the Bhakti movement in Assam when Nanak was preaching the concept of formless God in western region and Chaitanya was spreading Vaishnavism in other parts of India. At the age of 32, he traveled to Puri, Mathura, Dwarka, Vrindavan, Gaya, Rameswaram, Ayodhya, Sitakund, and almost all other major seats of Vaishnavite religion in India. At Badrik Ashram in 1488, he composed his first Borgit in Brajavali. Sankaradev preached pure devotion, bhakti to Krishna, consisting primarily in singing and listening to the deeds of Krishna. Ek Sarna follows the Das attitude of worship in which the devotee considered himself to be a servant of God. In contrast to other Vaishnava school, Radha is not worshipped along with Krishna. So it was Ek Sarna Dharma that considered only Krishna as a god and not Vishnu, not Radha or other Lord as God. They considered only Krishna as a god. Although Ek Sarna recognized the Nirgun god, it recognized the Sagun one as worshipful in the form of Lord Krishna. The people who practice this religion are referred to variously as Mahapurusya, Sarniya, and Sankari. Bhakti movement in North India. Ibn Arabi, he was 15th century Sufi saint who lived in the region Spain and Syria. He gave the doctrine of Tawhid-e Wajudi. Tawhid-e Wajudi means unity of being, and it means different religions were identical. And it was because of Ibn Arabi this doctrine, Tawhid Wajudi, become popular among Indian Sufi saints. His doctrine became popular in India before the time of Akbar, and after this, many Sufi saints start taking more interest in Sanskrit and Hindi language, and also in Hindi culture. So, Malik Muhammad Jaisi, he wrote Padmavati in Avdi or Hindi language. Then Abdul Wahid Bilgrami, he wrote Hakike Hakaik Hakaik e Hindi. And in that he described Krishna, Radha, Murli, Gopi, Yamuna, etc. related to Lord Krishna. Then another Sufi saint was Sayyid Ibrahim Khan or Ras Khan. He was 16th century Sufi saint. He learned Hindu religion from Goswami Vittal Ram and became a follower of Sri Krishna. He wrote many Hindi literatures with the pen name Ras Khan, and his samadhi is at Mathura. Then another Muslim figure who accepted Hindu god was Taj Bibi, and she is also named as Mughal Mirabai, and he was contemporary to Akbar. She renounced reciting Quran and Kalma and announced openly that she was a Hindu devotee of Lord Krishna. His samadhi is at Mathura. Her samadhi is at Mathura, not his. She was lady, so her samadhi is at Mathura. Here is the map that shows important Bhakti saint in Indian. So you can see Sankarachar of 8th century AD in Tamil Nadu region, then Ramanuj who lived in Kerala region. Oh, sorry, Sankara Sankarachar in Kerala region, then Ramanuj of 11th century AD in Tamil Nadu region, then the saints of 12th century AD were Nimbakachar and Madhvachar, both were in Karnataka region. Then from south, the Bhakti movement is spread in North India. First spread in Maharashtra region, then in uh, northern side. So in Maharashtra, there was Gyandev, Namdev, Eknath, Tukaram, and Ramdes and Ramdas. And Ramdas was follower of Dharkaris. Then in Gujarat region, there was Narsingh Mehta. Narsingh Mehta is considered as Adikavi of Gujarati language. Then in Rajasthan region, there was Mirabai and Dadu. In Punjab region, Guru Nanak. In Chhattisgarh region, Vallabhachar. In Bengal and Odisha region Chaitanya, in UP region Ramanand, Kabir, Surdas and Tulsidas, and in Assam region there was Sankaradev. So regarding Guru Nanak, we will learn about Guru Nanak when we will learn Sikh Empire. So here is the some important composition of different saints. Uh, the first column define region, then saints, then third column is composition, and fourth column define the composition related to which god. So in Karnataka region, there was Bhaswanna and Akka Mahadevi, and both lived around 12th century AD, and their composition is known as Vachans, and it is related to Shiva or Saivism. In Kashmir, there was Lal Ded, and she was Saif follower, and her writing is known as Waqs. In UP region, Kabir, uh, the composition of Kabir is known as Bijak, and it is related to Nirgun Bhakti movement. And in Bengal and Odisha region, there was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He wrote Sankirtan, and it is related to Vaishnavism. In Assam, there was Sankaradev who wrote Bhorgit, and it is related to Vaishnavism. And in Maharashtra region, there was Eknath and Tukaram who wrote Abhang, and Abhang was related to Vaishnavism or Vitthal or Vithoba. This is the end of lecture. Thank you.